Welcome back to Brick Army. My name's Steve, and today we have for you this, which is by Kazi, which is still the greatest name for a company ever. Now it does say Cheetah, but this is I would lay money on this being a Google Translate issue, and this as a Jagdpanther, which is quite unusual. You really don't see many of these around at all. Anyway, we will have our usual 60-second build. I'll show you some pics of the finished product, and then we'll get into the review. So, without further ado, let's crack on and build. Welcome back. Right, the review for this Jagdpanther. First of all, let's deal with the instructions. The instructions I didn't find were great at all. There was a lot of confusion on some of this, and what didn't help was the very first segment of the instructions, where you have to get these bits together. The green bits that are here, that lock into those brown bits, weren't in the first lot of bags, the bags that were numbered number 1. Now that did not help, that did not start off well, and unfortunately we continue with more of that. Now the one thing I will say is that those bits weren't actually missing, however they were in bag 4, or one of the bags numbered 4. So didn't get off to the greatest of starts. As I say, the instructions actually were not brilliant at all. There was an awful lot of places where I had to start backtracking because something had gone wrong somewhere, and it was very difficult sometimes to actually work out where that was. Now, as far as the bricks are concerned, while all the bricks do fit well, there were some bits missing. The track that they gave me, which I never bothered to put on the build because it's track, who needs to see that? I had to go to my spares box for some extra pieces of track to actually get them on the wheels here. Also, a couple of the bits of track were warped, there were also one or two other bits on here that were warped, and strangely, while we only have one green on here, there are a couple of bits of green that are different from the rest. So now I don't think that's deliberate in this particular camouflage pattern. I think that is a quality control issue, either with a new batch being mixed up, or possibly the pipes for the plastic not being cleaned through properly. But yeah, fortunately it's close enough to the other green that it's actually, unless you're really looking for it, you don't notice as such. So I will give them that. Now, the actual design of this thing, I'm not loving, I've got to say. Many reasons why. First of all, this is so fussy that it's the fragility is awful. It's absolutely awful. The design philosophy, the way that they've done this fighting compartment, the panels. I mean, you see the panels moving here. When you actually make the panels, they're very weak in themselves. So the idea that Kazi have had here is that you then clip them on the hinge thing, which I can see where they're coming from, but because these panels are so thin and weak, and they're just not, there isn't enough structural integrity in them, you go to press it on and the whole thing disintegrates. The amount of times that I have rebuilt these side panels, the front panel wasn't quite so bad, it was a little awkward, but the side panel and the back panel I just basically have given up with. And the top panel, although it's not quite resting on the model, oh there we go, see what I mean, it's not far off. Don't even want to look at that. I mean, it's, yeah, it's not good, I have to say. And bizarrely, it's something I can't remember if I've ever seen before. What presumably are supposed to be cables are actually string, which I can get behind the ethos in that. However, essentially the string, as you put it round, it holds the back end in place, because that flops out. Again, it's clipped in with a hinge. It just doesn't work. I can see what they're trying to do, but it just doesn't work. The other thing that I'm not in love with about this is this supposed camouflage pattern. It's nothing like realistic. It's almost a case that they're like, oh, let's find some coloured bricks and just chuck them on here in a random fashion. No, it doesn't work for me at all. The dimensions aren't too bad on it, I'll give them that. The tracks do run nicely on the wheels, even though I obviously had to give them an extra 2 links on each side. The minifigures are okay. There's very limited range of movement in the gun as well. For maybe 5 degrees, there's no lateral movement. It was quite big to get in, and I can lift this up without it disintegrating. This sort of bit on the lower mantlet there, it's just, as this moves, it's wobbling around. this is certainly not a piece that you would play with or let a small child near. Now, off the top of my head, and I will put it down here if I need to, I think this is about £28. Jag Panthers are quite rare. I think there's certainly, I know Kobe certainly do another one. I can't think of anybody else that does, although I will check the sleeping range. They're most likely, I would think, to do another one. But I would say this is a definite hard pass for me. Yeah, there's just too much wrong. I sort of see what they were trying to do with their design philosophy, and for the Abrams, it worked really well. It really doesn't work at all for this. I don't like the way that you are supposed to construct it. I don't like the way it looks with the camouflage at the ends. It's just far too fragile. As I say, bits falling off the back here. Can't recommend this one at all. Sorry, Kazi. You've still got the greatest name ever for a brick company, or for any company, but not this time. Anyway, unless you're Kazi, hopefully you've enjoyed this video today. If you have, please like and subscribe, but if not, please just carry on watching the videos. I'll see you again soon. Cheers, bye bye.